We need to talk about the Bitcoin ETF, about the fact that altcoins will probably go down a lot. Hey, there we are again, right? I've been saying it for a long time, and I've been right for a long time. I've been wrong as well, but now I still am in the under the impression that altcoins can take a big hit. And why the ETF? Like everybody is bullish on the ETF, and as you should be, of course. I mean, it's the biggest news that crypto has ever seen, basically. But there is a downside to it, and I also want to discuss why we need the ETF. I lost a lot of my Bitcoin. I just found out, and that kind of sucks. And an ETF could actually be you know, it could prevent a lot of people from losing their money as well. So let's get into it. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, and let's get right into the content. I think this is a super important video, but I'll let you be the judge. This is the altcoin market. The altcoin market, it takes a decent hit. It's nothing too crazy yet, but we clearly topped out and we're now down around 20% since the local top. Of course, way further from the bottom than from the top, but hey, the move down just began and the move up was already in for a year, and we had a very good 2023 for especially Bitcoin, but also for the altcoin market, especially the second half of 2023. Basically, that's where the altcoin market really was catching up. Now, what we notice is that if we do take a look at the weekly chart for Bitcoin, Bitcoin is doing pretty fine. Every move down gets bought up and we're slowly grinding up. But the same goes for the Bitcoin dominance. Of course, it's also grinding up and every move down gets bought up. Therefore, we today see, altcoins bleeding quite a lot because Bitcoin is still sitting at $44,000. But if we do take a look at altcoins overall, it's a lot of red on the market today, and especially altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, they look like they have topped out. This is AVAX, and AVAX from the top is already down 34%. If we do take a look at Gala, it's not even that it went up very hard. Gala still in a major downtrend, lower lows, lower highs under the bull market support band, so showing extreme weakness. Illuvium down quite a lot from the top, although there was a lot of hype, about Illuvium and everybody bullish about Illuvium, and it's a good project. It's one of the better looking games in crypto, but still 44% down in the last couple of weeks. IMX is now, I'm not going over my complete watch list right here, but just to give you an idea, right? IMX was in this clear range and we got rejected from the top side, and we are now down already with 30%. Now, a lot of altcoins, they look quite weak on their Bitcoin pair because they just had a big run and it's now time to cool off. As you can see, everything is basically red for the last couple of weeks. Even the big winner like Solana is down already with also like 30%, give or take. So I expect this to continue to happen, but on the dollar pair, they're still doing quite fine. Why is that? Well, that's mainly because Bitcoin is holding up and Bitcoin is still green. It's sitting above $44,000. What I do expect though is that Bitcoin is taking a good hit within now and 2 months. And if the Bitcoin dominance is already up that much, then you can expect that altcoins can take a way bigger hit on the dollar pair. And that will be the last time and chance that we will get to accumulate before a real big alt season and bull market is going to start, because it will, like I said before, I expect that a big alt season is going to occur around the end of the year. And it's basically, I base this on something very simple. With not a lot of history even, so hey, correct me later if I'm turning out to be wrong. But usually what we see, the white lines are the halving. What did we see right here? We had the halving. 8 months later, the Bitcoin dominance went down. That's what we saw in the alt season. Here in 2020 as well, we had the Bitcoin halving. 8 months later, that's where an alt season started. Now we have the halving in around April. So if we take that 8 months later, we'll be around December this year that we will finally see a big alt season. And I think that this is where the market in general will really turn around, as we also have the elections in November. and markets respond usually very bullish to that, goes up like extremely hard, and so that's another reason for me to believe that there will be a good alt season at the end of the year. Now about the Bitcoin ETF though. This is interesting, and I think that a lot of people were buying into the crypto market with the news that we are getting a Bitcoin ETF and multiple Bitcoin ETFs, and therefore the market is running still pretty hard. I mean, you can say whatever you want. Bitcoin is up 3x from the bottom since last year, so yeah, you can call it whatever you want. But for Bitcoin, it is clearly a good bull market. It kind of depends though, because like I said earlier as well, you here Bitcoin went from 3K all the way to 14. It was a bigger pump than what we have seen right now, and still was it a bull market? Because I don't know, we went down quite hard after that, and in the market before that, Bitcoin also 2x and went down. And usually after the halving, the blue lines is where you see a real bull market. But nevertheless, whatever it may be, Bitcoin will probably take a good pullback because it is cyclical. So far, that's what always happens. So not like once or twice, but every time. So it would be really stupid to bet against that. Now, what could be the reason for this to happen? Well, everybody expects the ETF, right? And the thing is that it will probably come, but maybe not in the way that people would like it to. If we do take a look at this, the Bitcoin ETF approval calendar, what do you notice? Sorry for the bad quality. I hope you can read it. Everybody says like, hey, yeah, January 10, right? That's when we get it. Well, that's basically only ARK, right? This is when the final deadline is. The rest is all in March. That's like BlackRock. That's what's been talked about. Most everybody's talking about BlackRock, but it's the 15th of March, right? And most of them are in March. So March is the big month. So it could definitely be that we may or may not get this ARK ETF in 2 days. Right? It could be. Maybe today. I don't know. Probably last moment. But that the rest, like everybody says, like, hey, yeah, when the ETF gets approved, the rest gets approved as well. Well, why? The SEC is known for putting it to the last moment, right? So I don't see a reason why we will get these ETFs earlier, actually. And I think the market is kind of priced in that that will happen. Well, if it doesn't, then it could be a slap in the face for a lot of people, and that could cause Bitcoin to go down. And that would be very cyclical because Bitcoin always goes down before the halving. And if we get it in March, hey, that would line up with the halving. Why do you think that Bitcoin always goes up after the halving? Not necessarily 100% because of the halving, right? It's in an election year. There's always good news. It lines up with something. And this time it might line up with the ETF approvals of many, many institutions. Now, I will come back to that and why that's not bearish for the altcoin market, but why altcoins are gonna get wrecked probably. And yeah, it maybe doesn't make sense if I say it like that, but stay watching. But first, a lot of people say we want a Bitcoin ETF. Okay, but why? Why do you want it, right? For the price to go up, right? Institutions are going to step in and the pension funds, everybody, like it's easier, it's safer, it's way better. So the price goes up eventually, definitely. But today, unfortunately, I witnessed why I also want an ETF. In 2022, somewhere, I happened to have some Solana, some Phantom. And I felt like, okay, altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, they look quite high. If you look at this, it was somewhere around here. And I felt like, man, let me convert some Bitcoin, some altcoins into Bitcoin. So somewhere around here, I converted my Phantom into Bitcoin. And I did that on the Phantom chain, just on chain. So I had a lot of Bitcoin on chain. Today, I felt like, hey, it is time to maybe, and that's another video by the way, but to maybe already put some Bitcoin back into altcoins as it went down quite hard. And we're now pretty much sitting at the bottom, right? So if you have Bitcoin, hey, congratulations. You can now buy altcoins at the bottom. So I felt like, let's do that already a little bit. And I looked at my wallet and I saw, hey, my couple of $1,000 of Bitcoin, why can I only get $130 for it? Turned out that I completely missed the news and that there was an exploit on the Phantom network in July somewhere, 2023, and that the Phantom network has been drained and the liquidity is gone. So my Bitcoin is worthless right there. And although it's fucked up that I lost quite some money and quite some Bitcoin, like this was my strategy, right? You know, putting altcoins into Bitcoin, and then when it goes down, buy altcoins back. And now a big part of my Bitcoin is gone, so that sucks. Apart from that, it also makes me afraid, right? Like, nothing is safe, right? Like, exchanges, Binance is gone from the Netherlands. Gate has to go from had to go from the Netherlands as well, and a lot of other countries. In I think India, was it? A lot of exchanges had to go. We know what happens with FTX. Like there are many examples. So CX's, you can trust it. Net je keys, net je coins. So I felt like, yeah, okay, as long as I make sure that I am unhackable as possible, at least, right? I can keep my money on chain. But then something happened to the chain. So it's also not safe right there, because if it could happen with Phantom, hey, why couldn't it happen with the BNB chain or Ethereum, right? It's all possible. So your money is also not safe there, all right? Then you might want to put it on a ledger. Oh, wait. A lot of ledger FUD lately. Also doesn't feel that safe. Okay, then where do we have to put it? There's not much left, right? Therefore, I also kind of understand, like, hey, if these big institutions, of course they're not gonna buy Bitcoin right now, right? And of course your grandma is not putting their pension funds in Bitcoin right now, because it is not safe. Nothing is safe. We in crypto all be like, oh yeah, screw the banks and we want to do self-custody. But self-custody gets you hacked and there's no insurance. You will lose. And for someone that has its life savings in it, yeah, they're not going to risk it if they have a brain cell. So we need an ETF to make crypto finally safe. If there's an ETF, I'm putting my Bitcoin in there, right? Like, come on. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. So we actually need it for a whole different reason than just the price to go up, to be honest. So the ETF will come. But like I said, it could be that it happens in March, right? Most of them. And that could cause the fact that Bitcoin goes down in the meantime, like it always does. And a lot of people don't want to hear it. They say like, nah, this time is different and blah, blah, blah. But if you do look at the altcoin market, it's already doing it. 20% on average so far, right? And I say so far because it could do more than that, right? If you do look at this, for example, if we have to retest this previous resistance right here, then it could be a drop of another like, 15-20% from here. Right, and 15-20% from here, it doesn't sound like much, but if you, for example, take a look at AVAX, 13% down this month. So hey, let's say another 13% down. If you do take a look at Solana, so far 10% down, right? So the bigger caps, they do fine. If you look at Superverse, slightly lower cap, 20% down. So all these altcoins could go down another 20%, and these are overall relative to higher caps, right? I'm not talking about the low caps that everybody YOLO'd into, because they can take a hit of 70%, of course. Right now, the danger is this. I asked 1 month ago, right? 1 month ago, and for your info, 1 month ago, that was last month, that was where the altcoin market was sitting at its top, right? I said, how much percent of your portfolio is in cash? And collectively 60% said 0 to 10%. So basically most people were already all in crypto. And I felt like, oh God, at least take some profits then. But I also asked, are you taking profits? 64% said no, it will go up more. Well, it didn't. It went down. So that's the thing. And that's just my channel, right? But most people, they are already all in crypto. They think it's going to go up only because ETF, because of halving, because of whatever. And then it turns out that a cycle is just a cycle, again, apart from the news, and it takes a good correction. Yeah, and then what? Right? Yeah, you can hold and you will be fine. But you could have made so much more, right? That's the first thing. I've took a lot of profits right here. If it now goes down, I buy the dip. I really buy that dip. I think that dip is the best buyable dip that we can get. And will we see lower prices like before? Well, with most altcoins, we won't. If you, for example, take a look at Seedify, my favorite project, right, you can see that it was like 50 cents and it went all the way up to 470, right? Now it's 320. Will it go all the way down to 50 cents again? Yeah, that's highly unlikely, right? That's highly unlikely. So yeah, the people that bought here, right, they made most gains. Difference is that we are now closer to the halving. The market has shown that there's finally an uptrend. The downtrend has been broken. So whatever, if you buy it here or wherever it goes, you at least buy it with lower risk. Like here, the risk was extremely high because this bottom, yeah, people saw like this could have been the bottom as well. This could have been the bottom as well. So these people were DCAing anyway, and their average entry is maybe the same as the next buy that we can make, but we can make it with lower risk. So that's a good thing, right? It's also about risk. It's not just about getting the lowest entries. It's also about not losing your money and making the best risk reward adjustments for yourself. Now, a lot of coins, they need to retest, right? They need to retest. Like, for example, I have IMX right here. Hey, previous resistance right here, this green area, yeah, it has to come down there, right? The bull market support band comes in over there, so that looks like something where it could go. If you take a look at Fibonacci, yeah, the golden zone comes in over there as well. So I am very tempted to now already say like, oh yeah, let's DCA. But on the other hand, DCA 24-25% down on most altcoins. You can DCA already, of course, but I think we will get way better entries. Now, that's on the dollar pair. On the Bitcoin pair, altcoins probably gonna get screwed, right? Why do I say that? Well, it's already, like, I've said this for a while, and it's already happening now. Like IMX, for example. Hey, this could go way lower, way lower. Why? Well, because of the ETF, all right? And I've said this before, but look at the Bitcoin dominance, okay? What's interesting, by the way, is that the Bitcoin dominance is doing the same thing as Bitcoin did, right? In an uptrend, broke below, knocked a couple of times and broke above and went up even further. Now the Bitcoin dominance is doing the exact same thing. Went up, broke below, it's now knocking, it's already above it, right? And now continues the uptrend. But once we got the fake ETF news, like 2 months ago or so, Bitcoin dominance shot up. And there was a 4-minute lasting news. So once we get the real ETFs, the Bitcoin dominance will probably shoot up way harder and stay there. And that would mean, despite whatever the dollar pairs and such are doing, that means that altcoins on their Bitcoin pair are going to collapse for one last time. Yeah, and if you do have Bitcoin, like I had, still have some, but if you do have Bitcoin, then you can really make a very good entry on most of these projects because they are already weak. Altera below the bull market support band already. AVAX had a really big run, right? And like we said, it already came down 33%, right? who says it cannot go down from here? Maybe another 30%, right? Yeah, that's a good entry. That's a good entry. That's a really good one. I'm willing to catch that one. Everything is already showing weakness. Most of it, right? Now what to buy? Well, I wouldn't buy shit like Gala, right? Why not? Because it hasn't shown strength in this last couple of months. So why would it in the next bull, right? Gala has been losing against Bitcoin. It's under the bull market support band already. It's quite near its lows. So a little hit and Gala new low. Yeah. Why would you take more? Gala's an altcoin, right? So per definition, it's higher risk than Bitcoin. But yeah, if it's less rewarding than Bitcoin, as you see, then why would you do this? Why don't you just buy Bitcoin? I mean, like relative safe and more rewarding. So that's not what I'm looking at. But things like AVAX has clearly been outperforming Bitcoin. So in the real bull market, hey, this is interesting. This is really interesting. But that only goes if you had a good entry, right? I hope like a lot of people, man, a lot of people they bought Solana, for example, when it was $120 or so. It's now 90, but that's FOMO. Don't get into that, right? Don't get into that. A lot of people have been buying here. Yeah, it's now in a downtrend. Hey, see how far it goes. But if you buy it at the wrong time, you can already lose 30% of your money while the market is super strong, right? So I'm waiting for good entries on Bitcoin pairs. And then I'm getting in. Run in. I already bought a little Vulcan Forged. It's flirting with that bull market support band, and I think it's here to stay. And I already bought a little Chainlink. Although, I must say, Chainlink is looking very... On one hand, it's still strong because high lows, high highs. On the other hand, if you look at it like this, broke the uptrend, plus it broke the bull market support band. So Chainlink is kind of weak right now. But then again, we probably all know that Chainlink is a good project which is here to stay. And with a lot of altcoins, you just don't know. You just don't know. Also with Chainlink, we don't know, by the way, but most altcoins are more speculative than Chainlink. So, very simple what I'm doing right now. I'm keeping some good cash on the sideline because there will be a seasonal dip correction, right? We now see altcoins are taking a hit, but that's without Bitcoin. So can you imagine if Bitcoin just takes a hit? Altcoins will I want to be there. I want to be there. So I'm having some cash on the sideline. Also, I still have some Bitcoin on the sideline. Around 30% of what I have, I'm putting it into altcoins now. Not now, but in this period, whenever a good opportunity occurs, like a Chainlink or a Vulcan Forged. Still waiting on a Ronin, for example. But hey, this is not looking like, wow, what a beautiful buying entry. I mean, yeah, no, it's like... down 16% from the range high, and it's still up 200% from the range low. So no, it's not it for me. I'm just scrolling to my list every now and then. Ultra weak, very weak as well. VRA, very weak. VRA just made a new low, by the way. Since VRA was never this low since basically March 2021, right? So almost 3 years low for veracity. But yeah, and that's kind of my strategy right now. Don't buy into the FOMO. Have patience. Be patient. It's so important. Look what has been outperforming Bitcoin, and I think you will definitely make it if you do it like that. Yeah, I could show you a lot more, but that's for another video. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I want to leave it there. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. There's a Patreon link down below if you want to see exclusive content, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.